Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So this is a clip of Smokey Robinson, basically like a day or two after Michael Jackson had died. So listen to this.
I have many fond memories of Michael. I think that one of my fondest memories of him is this guy named Bobby Taylor. He was mentioned by Suzanne DeBass on the Larry King Show tonight. And Bobby Taylor was one of our singers at Motown who was instrumental in bringing the Jackson 5 to Motown. And Bobby Taylor plays golf, and I play golf. And as a kid, Michael used to get on the cart with us and ride around and just be there while we were playing golf and just joking and laughing. And he was probably 10 or 11 years old. And that's a fond memory for me.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so first of all, he's talking about Bobby Taylor. And he says Bobby Taylor was instrumental in bringing the Jacksons to Motown. And so I do believe that there's that Smokey and Bobby are friends. And so whether he ever told Bobby that that's his kid, those are things that I'd have to get into more. But he could have told him, it's tricky. He tells him something, I need you to get this kid. I want you to look at him, work him out, because that's what he did. He stayed with them when they did that spot at the Regal, and then they were living with Bobby Taylor, and then Bobby Taylor brought him to Motown. But I've heard him say how they've always talked about how hard Michael worked, and and all this stuff, and they would work him hard, and so I think Bobby might have really been at that point really testing him out to see, okay, Smokey might have said, go look at this kid. That's the thing, is I don't know if he tells me his kid is not, but he might have. Him and Bobby might have been good enough friends, because when you go through the history too, Michael Jackson and Bobby Taylor ended up being really good friends. And it's just one of those things. So that's like a thing I would have to do a lot more. It would be another video. It's like, okay, does Bobby Taylor know that Michael is Smokey's kid when this occurs? That's like a video. I would have to do a whole series. I could get all into it. I'd go through all the Bobby Taylor stuff, right? So, but the other thing, the main thing is, okay, so here again, here's Michael Jackson hanging out with person I'm saying is his actual father. So right when they go to Motown, because he's saying when Michael was 10 or 11, and see, that's what I'm saying is, how are they this familiar with each other? How is Joe allowing Michael just to run around with these people and do what he wants? Because he says, oh, Michael would just jump on the golf cart with us and hang around and joke and stuff. Okay, but it's like, well, you don't live on the golf course, do you? I mean, maybe they did. That's another thing in my head now thinking about it. It's tricky, because people do live on golf courses now that I think about it. So he could have been at his house, and it's tricky. But the fact of the matter is, when you go play golf, if you go play 18 holes of golf, okay, that takes like 4 hours. It's not like you don't just go play golf for an hour. You go play golf on an 18-hole course, and that's why you have a golf cart. The reason you have a golf cart is because you're on an 18-hole course, and it's huge. And that's why kids love it. I used to do that when I was a kid too. You go and drive the golf cart and stuff for the adults. It's fun. It's super fun. But it's a golf cart. You can only fit, there's 2 seats, maybe there's like 4 seats at the most, but you have golf carts, golf clubs you got to fit in there too. So you can't just like pile, it's usually like 2 people per golf cart. So, when the kid's there, it's like, it's really like, it was probably him and like how he said, it's him and Bobby on the golf course, and then Michael would be there, because you can fit a kid, can hang out, because the adults, a lot of times they like to have a kid because they have to get off of the cart and go walk and hit their thing, and they don't want to have to come back to the cart. So it's fun to have a kid there because he can drive the cart over for you. It actually works really good. But the reality is, here's Michael Jackson hanging out outside of the family with the person I'm saying is his actual father. At 10, as he's saying, 10, 11 years old. Like Michael states in his Moonwalk book that he does that with Diana Ross too, that he was hanging out with her alone outside of the family. So it's just like, it's a big deal. It's like, I didn't make this stuff happen. I didn't put this stuff here. I never thought like Smokey Robinson. I didn't make up a story that like Diana Ross was Michael's mom and then Smokey was the father. Well, I didn't just like what happened. I had the idea that Diana was the mother. Then I searched through her and I found out who she was hanging out with at the time. And then I found out reasons why things could happen. And that's why everything led to Smokey. And then you go out, find it through Smokey, and you find stuff like that's what I'm saying. Once you start searching, here it is. Michael hanging out with Smokey outside of the Jacksons' family when he's 10 or 11 years old. You know, it's just, these are the things that are there. When you go looking, these are the things that are there. So, and I want you to show you this a little bit more too. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm just going to show you part of it. But to give you a better idea of, like when you talk about Michael Jackson as being such a humanitarian and all of a voice for the people and all of the things, right? And I talk so much about that Michael gets his traits from his real parents, Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. That's where he gets his real traits from, his real talents and his real soul, the real thing. And that's why, listen to Smokey and you're going to be hearing more. Now, think about how Joe Jackson talks, okay? Think about every single time you've ever heard Joe Jackson. Does it ever resemble Michael Jackson in any fashion? Think about his soul. But now listen to this man, who I'm saying is Michael's actual father. Now think about the soul. Does this guy's soul resemble Michael Jackson's?
How come I didn't get a chance to vote on who I'd like to be? Who gave you the right to make that decision for me? I ain't under your rule or in your dominion, and I'm entitled to my own opinion. Now there are some African Americans here, but they recently moved here from places like Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. But now the brother whose family's lived in this country for generations, occupying space in all the locations, New York, Miami, LA, Detroit, Chicago, even if he's wearing a dashiki and sporting an afro. And if you go to Africa in search of your race, you'll find out quick you're not an African American. You're just a black American in Africa taking up space. Why you keep trying to attach yourself to a continent where even if you got the chance to go and you went, most people there wouldn't even claim you as one of them, as a purebred daughter or son of them. Your heritage is right here now, no matter what you call yourself or what you say. And a lot of people died to make it that way. And if you think America's a leader on inequality and suffering and grieving, how come there's so many people coming and so few leaving? Rather than all this fine thought with America shit you promoting, if you want to change something, use your privilege. Get to the polls, come and support me. God knows we've earned the right to be called American Americans and be free at last. And rather than you moving forward with progress, you're dwelling in the past. We struggled too long, we've come too far. Instead of focusing on who we were, let's be proud of who we are. We're the only people whose name is always a trend. When is this shit gonna end? Look at all the different colors of our skin. Black is not our color, it's our core. It's what we've been living and fighting and dying for. But if you choose to be called African American and that's your preference, then I give you that preference. But I know on this issue I don't stand alone on my own. And if I do, then let me be me. And I'd appreciate it if when you see me, you say, there goes a man who says it loud. I'm black. I'm a black American, and I'm proud. Because I love being an American. And I love being black. I love being called black. Yeah, I said it, and I don't take it back.